Under the same moon, we share the love. Embracing the differences like hand in glove. Spreading peace and joy, it's a beautiful sight. Together we shine in each other's light. United we stand in love's pure might. Watching the world share in love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Watching the World News at Noon. Thank you so much for joining in today. Today is actually my official birthday. It's a great day. It's so good to be alive to see another year. Yes, indeed. Today we're going to talk about a lot of different subjects, but we're going to start off in regards to the actual Super Bowl last night. The President of the United States is really upset in regards to the entire show, and if you watched it, I'm pretty sure you know why. In fact, today on my Facebook, the stream, the timeline was really insane with people saying it was so disrespectful to our country to have people coming on, not even speaking any English at all, and giving an entire show. People are so mad, especially when it comes to people that support Donald Trump. We have close to 300 people here from X, formerly known as Twitter. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hit the like button and share as well. Let's get right to it and see what the president's response is in regards to Bad Bunny. I'm telling you right now, he's not with it. Oh, we have so many people here in the chat support him. Thank you very much. I see we have Pretty Things. We have Deborah in the building as well. Thank you so much for the continued support. We have OG Kicks. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are so amazing. Let's get right to it here.
God bless America!
Benito, how was it out there? How was it?
That was great.
Bad Bunny's Apple Music halftime show ripped apart by Donald Trump on Truth Social as, quote,
do you guys remember they said that ICE would be here arresting any illegal immigrants and also checking out anybody who looks like they're Hispanic, right? We'll definitely be covering more of what happened outside of the building as well.
one of the worst ever.
So the president said this was one of the worst ever. Could you imagine why he would say such a thing? Guys, hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
The Grammy winner's Spanish language performance, which Trump labels a slap in the face to our country, was a celebration of America, with shout-outs to countries and territories across North and South America, including his home, Puerto Rico, part of the U.S.
A my motherland, mi patria, Puerto Rico. Seguimos aquí.
The God timing, it's perfect, and
So even though a part of the U.S. it still doesn't fit the bill, at least in regards to the president, who was very upset about the entire performance.
estoy muy agradecido. I'm very happy and grateful. Biggest pleasure is just create, have fun doing it, and connect with the people.
The president taking offense to Benito's Spanish writing, nobody understands a word this guy is saying, calling it an affront to the greatness of America.
Speaking of that, down in Texas, or actually Florida, did you hear you can't even get your driver's license? You have to be able to speak English and also write in English in order to obtain a driver's license at this point. And also for the various Haitians, at least I think 153,000 in Florida, they will not be able to renew their license until they figure out this whole incident as far as their citizenship and the temporary status.
And seemingly confirming he did not tune into Turning Point USA's counter-programming, the Kid Rock headlined All-American. halftime show.
Si hoy estoy aquí en el Super Bowl 60, es porque nunca dejé de creer en mí. Tú también deberes.
Did you guys see that Turning Point had their own halftime show that was basically country music and rock and roll? And in fact, if you follow any of Candace Owens, she's actually talking about how they basically scammed the viewers because they were asking for money, but basically put on a very lame show, pretty much to try to mitigate what's happening with the real Super Bowl. Let's cover what's happening with Ghislaine Maxwell in regards to the Epstein files. When it comes to her, she has to go before Congress. You'll be shocked at her approach at answering questions. But let's first get the baseline of the story.
Thanks for staying with us here at Live Now from Fox. And I do want to provide a bit of a programming note for later on today. Major story that we're following very closely.
Deborah, thank you for the happy birthday. I really do appreciate that.
Is, of course, all the developments having to do with the case against Jeffrey Epstein, given the fact that just a couple of weeks ago, the Department of Justice released a new batch of files on that investigation. And happening today, we do know that Ghislaine Maxwell, who is serving time in prison for being an accomplice of Jeffrey Epstein, she is going to be appearing for a virtual deposition. Reuters saying this, that Jeffrey Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell intends to refuse to answer questions at a deposition today before the House.
Put a 1 in the chat if you think that she should be able to receive a pardon from the President of the United States. Put a 2 if you think she should be locked up for eternity based on what you know so far in regards to her case in harmony with Epstein. Pretty Things also says, let's see, no whites in the show perhaps. Okay, that's the reason why. Okay, thank you, New Jersey, and my cousin. Thanks for that happy birthday. I really do appreciate it. JR says, damn right. You should have to be. We have rules for a reason. Okay, thank you.
This Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, according to a letter that they received on Sunday from U.S. Representative Ro Khanna. Maxwell, who was found guilty in 2021 for her role in helping Epstein sexually abuse teenage girls, is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence and plans to invoke her Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination and decline to answer all substantive questions.
In my personal opinion, I think Ghislaine Maxwell is leaning on the president's hopes of receiving that pardon, so she's not going to say or do anything that would inhibit her from being able to receive a pardon from the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Now, most of the people in the audience, just about everybody, said that she should stay locked up forever. Wow. So obviously we know what she has been incriminated, some of the things that she did. She also perjured herself. But when it came to Todd Blanche actually going to the prison to interview her, they took her word as gold that Donald Trump had not been engaged in any wrongdoing. In fact, she tried to say that she don't recall Epstein doing anything out of pocket as well. So I understand how you guys feel.
According to Khanna's letter to Representative James Comer, he's the committee chair. Speaking of James Comer, on the agenda today, we're also supposed to be getting an update and press conference from Representative Comer. So once we get those remarks or anything like that, we will bring you them here at Live Now from Fox.
Now, going back to the Bad Bunny, we see that New York City Slots says it was pre-recorded and lip singing, so that's why perhaps it was such a bad show. Okay, I can understand that as well.
I want to refer now and just take a look at some video that we have here, file video of Ghislaine Maxwell, just to put a face to this entire story. Reuters goes on to say this, that Maxwell's attorney did not immediately respond to a request for comment on Sunday. Instead of answering individual questions, Maxwell plans to read a prepared statement at the beginning of her deposition. Khanna, who serves on the committee, had said this without detailing the source of his information. The California Democrat, writing in his letter seeking clarification on her testimony, wrote, quote, "This position appears inconsistent with Ms. Maxwell's prior conduct, as she did not invoke the Fifth Amendment when she previously met with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche to discuss substantially."
Okay, so we're going to get another twist on this from CNN and how she pled the fifth today.
Republican chairman of the House Oversight Committee, James Comer, has emerged from that hearing and informed all of us that Ghislaine Maxwell has decided to take the Fifth Amendment and refuse to answer any questions. Listen to what he's saying.
Well, that makes a lot of sense knowing the background of the story. Chaos whisperers talking about the Super Bowl, saying it was so good. All right, thank you.
Ready? As expected, Ghislaine Maxwell took the fifth and refused to answer any questions. This obviously is very disappointing. We had many questions to ask about the crimes she and Epstein committed, as well as questions about potential co-conspirators. We sincerely want to get to the truth of the American people and justice for the survivors. That's what this investigation is about. I want to mention the next steps. We can confirm we have 5 more depositions in the book scheduled for the Epstein investigation. On February 18th, Lex Wexner, who is a financial client of Epstein and I believe the former CEO of Victoria's Secret. February 26th, we have former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. February 27th, former President Bill Clinton. March 11th, Richard Kahn, Epstein's accountant, and March 19th, Darren Endike, Epstein's lawyer. So we will continue to move forward and try to get answers for the American people.
So with pleading fifth, it looks like they won't get too far in figuring out anything much when it comes to the Epstein files, especially when it comes to the key person, Ghislaine Maxwell. Thank you guys for all the happy birthday shout outs. Shout out to you. Thank you, pretty things. Nice to have you here, Eric. Good to see you. The only corner says bad show. All right. Can people not dance? It was lit. Okay, so quite a few people in the audience feel like the halftime show was actually a hit. And in fact, they enjoyed it, opposite to how the President of the United States responded in regards to this show. Let's finish this up here.
Do you think that Britain's royal family has questions to answer to your committee?
Well, we would love to hear, from anyone. Obviously, I can't subpoena in foreign countries, or I would have done that in the Biden investigation. But do you have anything to add, Andy?
I'll just add one thing that the attorney for Ms. Maxwell said that she has no indication and would say that neither Presidents Trump or Clinton are culpable for any wrongdoing, and that's one thing they said in his opening statement to us today.
But it's under pressure to...
So according to Maxwell, Donald Trump and also Bill Clinton have really done nothing wrong. Okay, well.
Stay silent.
What's that?
Was Ghislaine Maxwell put under pressure to stay silent today?
Well, I have no idea.
Is that your suspicion?
We have different opinions according to the show coming from you guys. Zach says the halftime show sucked. Okay, Deborah says it was a vibe, so quite the opposite of each other. Okay, Harley says it's called freedom of press. All right.
I have no idea. I mean, she was given an opportunity. We would have brought her in months ago, but she's indicated she was going to plead the fifth.
Guys, we have 400 people here from Twitter, X, and then we have another 250 from YouTube. Please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys for supporting me on my birthday. I really do appreciate that.
And unfortunately, she had an opportunity today to answer questions that every American has, questions that would be very important in this investigation, and she chose to invoke her Fifth Amendment rights.
Is there different what her lawyer said about President Trump and Clinton, and do you think that there's anything more to do with Ghislaine Maxwell now that she pled the fifth?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Eddie. Just to be clear, what her attorney said, Maxwell didn't say, her attorney said that she would answer questions if she were granted clemency by the president.
Trump.
So she's trying to play hardball. She's also trying to negotiate so she can get out of jail. It's like a get out of jail free card. That's what she's trying to do. I guess anyone in that position would try to negotiate for their freedom.
That she went on to say about Clinton and
but he went on to expand that. The other thing is he pointed out a number of times that.
All right, guys. Mavis Tullis says he is the leader of nothing, talking about Donald Trump. Not too happy with him at all. Thank you for your comment very much. Okay, we have Stella in the building. Shout out to you, Stella. Thank you for your hard work. Appreciate that. Gio says Trump is protecting her in exchange for silence. Okay, we've seen that firsthand. We have a firsthand view of that. Harley says the show did suck, though, talking about the show last night. Okay, thank you, Pretty Teams, for the super chat. Thank you. First and foremost, what agreement did Maxwell make to be moved to a low-security prison in the first place? Well, let's talk about that. I don't think she really had to make an agreement. I think she just had to comply with the nod, because Todd Blanche, as I explained before, when I attended Donald Trump's trial here in New York, where he received 34 felonies. Could you believe that? The sitting president has 34 felonies. Todd Blanche, the current Deputy Attorney General, he was Donald Trump's personal attorney. And as you know, Donald Trump won the election. He became president, and he pulled Todd Blanche into the office with him, right, in connection with the DOJ. So when Todd Blanche, who served as Donald Trump's protector, when he went to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell, she said Donald Trump did nothing wrong. Okay, so became very clear. He did nothing wrong. With that, she was immediately moved to a nice prison camp, much nicer than the prison that she was being held in. In fact, the prison camp that she's in, you cannot have any type of SA background, which we know she had, she being convicted of it, but they broke the rules for her. So apparently her being silent, as many people feel like, landed her in a better position, and maybe it's like a launch pad for her to actually receive a pardon when things slow down a bit, right?
She has a habeas corpus petition pending for a new trial and release, and that's why she is not going to answer questions.
I know that those conversations are ongoing. They would like them to.
Guys, help us on our drive to 50,000 subscribers. We're very close. I think we're around 41, 42. Thank you very much. It seems we're having some technical issue. Hopefully it goes away. Let's see here. Ton says we can never see the corrupt kangaroo court proceedings. Right, exactly. Highly Classified says, y'all seen a show? I saw a ritual. Okay, New Jerseyan says, like, share, and subscribe, and turn on your notifications for upcoming shows. Thank you very much. We also have IBBVD says, was it appropriate for Joe Biden to say, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black? He said that to the morning show, The Breakfast Club, so he did say that. A lot of people feel that it was inappropriate for him to say that. Deborah says, did you see Pam Bondi, Mel? Wow, I did not see her response yet, if you're referring to the Super Bowl, but I will definitely pull that up to report on it for tomorrow. Okay, Neo says, no, it wasn't. What exactly are you referring to? Okay, tell us all about it. Let's keep moving here.
To be public, is your understanding still that we're looking at those same February dates and they're going to be private?
Yeah, that's what they agreed to, and they will be public, just like this will be public hopefully very soon. We've released every transcript and every video and audio of every deposition we've done since I've been chairman of the committee.
Mr. Chairman, does the committee have any plans to subpoena Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, given the revelations?
We're going to try to get these 5 nailed down. We've got a lot of very important people we're trying.
I noticed they just asked about Lutnick. We're going to be covering him pretty soon today in this show to show how people are very frustrated with anyone that's being mentioned in the Epstein file.
Trying to bring in to answer questions. We don't want to do anything to jeopardize the 5 that we have on the book. So we'll see what happens here, and we'll move forward. We're interested in talking to anyone that might have any information that would help us get justice for the survivors. Yes.
Thank you. On the disagreement.
Okay, we're close to 1,000 people in totality. Guys, please hit the like button, share, subscribe. Help us get to 50,000 subscribers. Tom says, was very appropriate and funny. I think you're talking about the ape picture of Barack Obama and his wife that the president had reposted. If I'm mistaken, just let me know. But we're going to be getting to that too today in the show, so just sit tight. We're going to cover that. Let's see what Mavis has to say. People wake up. What do you mean? He hasn't done anything wrong. Okay, thank you.
With the Clintons about closed door videotape testimony versus public hearing, are you concerned this will be enough to restart contempt proceedings, or do you think you'll come to a resolution?
I mean, they said they agreed to a standard deposition. That's what a standard deposition is. Every time I've come out here for a press gaggle with you all, we've had a standard deposition. So this is how depositions work, and it will be made public. So they want a public deposition. This is what they're going to get.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask you about Ilhan Omar for a moment? Mr. Chairman, your investigation.
Chad.
Your investigation about Ilhan Omar. Why are you targeting her when there is a Ilhan Omar? Your committee investigation with Ilhan Omar, when there is a process in the House, if people have questions about their conduct, this would go through the Ethics Committee. Why is this under the jurisdiction?
And I've spoken, I'm glad you asked that question. I've spoken with the Ethics Committee. The Ethics Committee has jurisdiction over members of Congress. The two businesses in question are owned by Ms. Omar's husband. So the Ethics Committee does not have jurisdiction over a spouse, only a member. So that's why we just asked, we would have questions. I don't think anyone would.
It would pertain to her overall finances, because that is listed on her financial disclosure report, even though that's her spouse.
We've run this by the Ethics Committee, and we think this is the appropriate route. So, and we'll do one more question. Yes.
Yes, just going back to the Clinton deposition, sorry for space. I understand that you're going to release the transcripts, you'll release the...
Frello says that Trump is a DEI hire. Okay, all right. All right. Stella says, let's get the likes up and subscribe to the channel. Divine says the picture of Michelle and Obama was hilarious. We're going to get to that next, so let's sit tight for that.
Video. Why is there reticence to just have it be public since the Clintons, look, they are not your typical people being deposed?
When you say public, what do you mean? I mean, it's going to be the video, and we'll release it. The public will see every second of the deposition. I think they're trying to muddy the. What's that?
But not at the time that it happened. So
what? A few seconds later? I mean, I think the Clintons are trying to muddy the waters and create a false narrative, like depositions behind closed doors. That deposition was behind closed doors, but you had at least 10 members of Congress in there, and you'll have the. I hope very soon. Yes. Go ahead. All right.
Ghislaine Maxwell, we know from the Epstein files, didn't tell the truth. She got moved to an open prison. Now she's asking for clemency to speak at all. Was it a mistake to move her to that prison?
I don't know the rationale for moving her from one prison to the other, but look, initially she had asked that the Oversight Committee grant immunity, and when we met with the survivors of Epstein, according to the survivors, and you know, we had 20-some members in that meeting, that Maxwell was a very bad, committed a lot of crimes, and it was the intent, in my opinion, when we left that meeting in a bipartisan manner, that we would not grant immunity. Now, what she said today, she's asked for clemency from the president. So, I personally, for the reasons you just stated, don't think she should be.
So it's quite clear she's not going to say anything about the president that's harmful or negative, because she's trying to get clemency. It all makes sense. She's trying to get her freedom, so that makes sense. We're going to move on now to see how they're actually leaning on Donald Trump's administration, because some of the individuals are mentioned in the Epstein files and people want them to go. Let's check this out as well. Let's see what's happening.
This morning, as lawmakers prepare to view the Department of Justice's unredacted files on Jeffrey Epstein, new questions about Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick's relationship with the deceased convicted sex offender.
So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or even philanthropy.
Most of the time that you see the president on the airplane, Air Force One, you often will see Lutnick in the background. So that's how close he is to the president. Basically, it appears on a day-to-day basis.
If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
Just months ago, Lutnick, who lived next door to Epstein for more than a decade.
That's my story. A one and absolutely done.
After a visit to Epstein's home, describing him as gross.
I say to him, massage table in the middle of your house? How often do you have a massage?
But part of the 3 million pages of newly released DOJ files show Lutnick and Epstein remained in contact well past 2005, as recently as 2018. One email with Epstein's schedule for May 1st, 2011, showing plans for drinks with Lutnick. And in December 2012, other documents showing Lutnick and
So that's quite to the contrary of what he just explained that we heard him say in this video. But that's how it is. Everybody is denying their association with the Epstein, right? Even when it comes to Bill Clinton and Donald Trump.
His family planned to visit Epstein's private island. At the end of that month, the two both in the same business, their signatures seen here on legal documents. Some of these interactions with Lutnick coming years after Epstein first pled guilty to sex crimes in 2008.
Okay, Caprello says, I'm on the bus in New Orleans right now. You should see the zombies on here. I can only imagine. Okay, thank you for giving us that boots on the ground idea. Thank you.
And this morning, several lawmakers calling for Lutnick to step down, including Republican Congressman Thomas Massey, the architect of the law compelling the release of the files.
He's got a lot to answer for, but really he should make life easier on the president, frankly, and just resign.
Overnight,
we're standing together. Standing together.
Multiple Epstein survivors appearing in a new PSA, calling for more transparency, saying millions of files still haven't been released. The DOJ saying any files withheld or redacted.
As far as Tom, you have to identify who you're speaking about. Make it very clear. Thank you.
Were to comply with exceptions in the law, not to compromise ongoing investigations or violate victims' privacy. Also in the newly released trove of records, email showing the role Epstein's now convicted co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell played in supporting former President Bill Clinton's foundation and the launch of the Clinton Global Initiative, a conference for business and global leaders. According to emails from 2004, Maxwell helped in the planning and funding of its inaugural event. The former president has said he had no knowledge of Maxwell or Epstein's crimes and has pushed for the DOJ to release all files.
In a statement to ABC News, Secretary Lutnick's office maintaining that he had, quote, very limited interactions with Epstein. Meantime, up here on Capitol Hill today, Ghislaine Maxwell will testify virtually from prison behind closed doors, not in a public setting, to the House open.
Okay, so AP3 says no big balloons abusing Trump at the No Kings protest, spewing their hate, just one-sided LOL. It's like UK all over again. I've attended those No Kings protests, covering it from a media standpoint, and there's a lot of balloons, and often those balloons are messages that people despise the president of the United States, namely Donald J. Trump. Charles says, I guess it was nicer that posting them as the actual part of the anatomy that they are. Okay, all right, not sure what that means. Instant says, was that a real question? Appropriate. Not sure what you're talking about. But anyway, moving on, let's cover the next subject matter. We're going to get into Donald Trump and whether or not it was racist for him to post Barack Obama and his wife, Michelle Obama, as apes on the video. Let's see what people are actually saying in regards to this as well.
A blatantly racist depiction of former President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama as apes, President Trump says he will not apologize.
A number of Republicans are calling on you to apologize for that post. Is that something you're going to do?
No, I didn't make a mistake.
He told reporters on Air Force One he condemns the imagery. Our Fritz Farrow asking what his message is to Americans who are offended.
I didn't know about it, so I mean, it went up. I really have no message.
The White House initially defended the post, calling the criticism fake outrage. But the backlash only grew. Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, the Senate's only black Republican, calling the president's post the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. Senator Roger Wicker of Mississippi writing, this is totally...
Okay, so let's get a pulse for what people really think. If you think the president was being racist, put a 1 in the chat. Put a 2 if you disagree and you just feel it was good humor, just funny. all right, or put a 3 if you just don't care at all. Let's see what you guys think about this. Do you think the President of the United States was being racist when he posted the former President Barack Obama and his wife as apes?
Unacceptable. The video was originally posted at 11:44 p.m. on Thursday. The president deleted it 12 hours later. After initially defending the post, the administration then put out a new statement telling ABC News a White House staffer erroneously made the post. The president, who is ultimately responsible for his social media account, claimed he didn't watch the video.
Okay, I can already tell by the numbers most people feel like the president was being racist. Believe it or not, we only have maybe 2 or 3 people that felt like it wasn't. I'm shocked, but because last night we had 60,000 people here for Calvin's show and the weekly legal review, and most people were saying it was just good fun. It was just being hilarious. But today, the general consensus is that the President of the United States was being racist. Wow. Thank you guys for your voting here.
Until the end.
I looked at it, I saw it, and I just looked at the first part.
Over on Capitol Hill, lawmakers on both sides of the aisle demanding an apology.
He definitively needs to apologize. It was a disgusting video.
I think sometimes in our public...
Okay, Bert says, just remember 39% of African Americans in 2024 voted for Donald Trump and changes. Remember this in the midterms in November. Already, we discussed it last night that the president feels that he may honor the midterm elections if he feels like it's honest. But Steve Bannon said that he feels like if the Democrats take back the majority, that Donald Trump and Steve Bannon and a few others might be facing, the president impeachment, but also some jail time. What do you guys think about that theory?
Discourse, it is best to just say, I'm sorry.
The post is just the latest in a long history of offensive comments made by the president. For years, he falsely claimed President Barack Obama wasn't born in the United States and also questioned the racial identity of his former rival.
That's true. We do remember that.
Former Vice President Kamala Harris.
The White House has not said who the staffer is or whether they will face consequences. As for the Obamas, they have decided not to comment. Guys.
How do you comment when the President of the United States does something like that? All right, Rachel, thank you.
Okay, very good. So now we're going to check out what's happening with Iran. It looks like things are really heating up. We're trying to push for peace. In fact, the President of the United States often says he wants peace. He does not like war. But the scales are definitely mounting at this time. Let's get to it.
Iran seized 2 foreign oil tankers in the Persian Gulf yesterday. This comes as U.S. and Iranian officials just begin talks. They began them to...
Now, guys, keep in mind, I went to the Nicolas Maduro hearing. I sat right behind him, and I heard him explain, although he spoke in Spanish, he explained how he was kidnapped from his home, him and his wife, and they came to the United States, not in honor, but in chains. In fact, the day of court, we could hear them take the chains off of him, and the chains actually hit the ground. It was almost like a movie, but we saw a president from another country walk into the courtroom, and even though he was incarcerated, he was looking at us saying, Happy New Year. You really couldn't tell that he would be stressed out in any way. His wife was quite different, but she led with bruising on her face. They also requested that she be examined with her ribs because evidently she took a tough beating or a really hard fall, right? But in regards to this case, right, Iran is not listening, or they're not paying attention to what happened to Venezuela. It looks like Colombia got in line and really paid attention to the president because he came to the White House and tried to make deals. But Iran is really pushing the buttons. And from my observation, especially firsthand with Nicolas Maduro, you do not want to mess around with the president of the United States. So we're getting to a very defining moment with Iran. And you're going to find out in this video that if they keep up, they might find out the hard way.
Jennifer Griffin joining us now. What's at stake if these talks fail?
Well, really everything. There's a large military buildup, and the U.S.
is focusing on Iran's nuclear program for now. The talks in Oman between U.S. and Iranian negotiators are over for today. They lasted about 8 hours. It's the first time U.S. and Iranian negotiators have held talks since the U.S. and Israel bombed Iran's nuclear sites last June. Iranian state-run media said both sides agreed to meet again. Present for the talks alongside U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is U.S. CENTCOM Commander Admiral Bradley Cooper.
Tyler says, absolutely. How can you not call it racist, talking about this video that the president put out? But Armando makes a nice point, says it's funny that they said it was an AI add-on to the end. I noted that too, Armando. That was a weak excuse for adding that type of footage to the video. It seems like it was all a part of the plan in the first place. So thank you for that key understanding and observation.
Who has been assembling an armada in the Middle East to include a U.S. aircraft carrier strike group. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent revealed Thursday the protests in December may have been the result of U.S. economic pressure, which led to a dollar shortage and one of Iran's largest banks failing.
We have seen the Iranian leadership wiring money out of the country like crazy. So the rats are leaving the ship, and that is a good sign that they know the end may be near.
Guys, hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Vulnerability says it's weak to not apologize since it proves he's a lowlife. So the president, when asked about this, said he found no need to apologize because he did not make a mistake. In fact, he said he only saw the beginning of the video and he never laid eyes on the part where Barack Obama and Michelle Obama were being featured as apes. Most people, from what I've been able to understand, do not believe that. They feel like the president did it on purpose. And that's why you have individuals like Tim Scott, who basically, I was shocked, right? He seems like a guy that could find no wrong in the president, but he actually reached out to the president, Tim Scott, and he said to the president, I believe, that this was one of the most racist things that he's seen come out of the White House. He did not say the only racist. He says one of the most racist things. Something to think about.
The U.S. State Department is urging Americans to leave Iran immediately. If they cannot leave, officials advise finding a secure location and stocking food, water, medications, and other essentials. There is a lot at stake if talks fail. In the 48 hours leading up to the talks, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy seized 2 vessels in the Arabian Gulf that were carrying smugglers.
Oh, Kevin is back in the building, everybody. Kevin says, who cares? Obama should have never been president. The great divider. Obama was the divider. Explain to us, Kevin, what made him such a divider. We really want to know. Thank you very much. Armando says, if that's the case, the web goes by your likes and shares. Okay.
Smuggled fuel, and 2 IRGC gunboats harassed a U.S. flagged tanker, and the U.S. military shot down a Shahed 139 drone that Iran launched toward the USS Lincoln aircraft carrier with thousands of...
Now, despite all of the issues that you might have with Donald Trump, how do you guys feel as far as his leadership on the world scene? Do you think that he's strong and he's showing that America is back, such as his hats often say? Do you feel like this is one of the strongest presidents that we've seen in the last few years? Tell us how you feel.
Sailors on board and nonstop verbal threats from leaders in Tehran.
I'm sure the Strait of Hormuz will be a slaughterhouse. It will be hell for them. Iran will show that the Strait of Hormuz historically belongs to Iran.
Negotiations today only focused on Iran's nuclear program, Stuart, not its ballistic missile arsenal, which Israel has repeatedly urged. Satellite images show new activity at the Esfahan nuclear complex, possibly aimed at protecting the site from future military strikes. Stuart?
Jennifer Griffin, thanks very much indeed.
Okay, so just to add to all of the news that we've been looking at, would you believe we have another truck driver, illegal immigrant that has taken the lives of many or few because of an accident? But this is really causing major problems in the country, because every time something like this happens, it really builds into the narrative that people should not be here as illegal immigrants. At least that's what most people are saying. Let's actually get to this story as well. Let's check it out.
Another illegal immigrant truck driver accused in a deadly crash in Indiana. It killed 4 people. The driver reportedly entered the United States under President Biden using the CBP One app and released on parole. Senior correspondent Mike Tobin has this tragic story. Hi, Mike.
And sadly, Dana, it's another case of someone who entered the U.S. under Biden administration policies, went to a sanctuary state, got...
All right, again, it's all under Joe Biden. Joe Biden is to blame for this, obviously, here. Chuck says Trump is going to be in the White House because white people want him there. That won't change. I don't care how much they defend Donald Trump's posts. Okay, thank you for your expression.
A license to get behind a big rig, and now someone is hurt or killed. It happened in Indiana on Tuesday. One truck on State Road 67 slowed down. The truck behind him did not, instead swerved into oncoming traffic. The truck hit a van transporting 4 men from Indiana's Amish community. The 4 men were killed.
Thank you, AI Starseeds, for the happy birthday wish and the stock pick. Thank you.
The driver of that van is now in critical condition. Indiana State Police report the driver of the semi-truck is 30-year-old Bezkan Beshikiv from Kazakhstan. He entered the U.S. using the Biden administration CBP One cell phone app, and that was in December of 23. Beshikiv was issued a commercial driver's license by the state of Pennsylvania. Now, the issue of undocumented people behind the wheel of big rigs is painful for Marcus Coleman. In June of 2024, his 5-year-old daughter was critically injured by a driver from India who entered the U.S. illegally and got a commercial driver's license when he was still a teenager. Dahlia will spend the rest of her life in need of medical care.
She's not going to make a full recovery. She's going to be on therapies for the rest of her life. She's going to be on medication the rest of her life. And we've pretty much come to the terms that she's not going to be self-sufficient. She's going to basically have to have a guardian and pretty much a chaperone and caretaker with her pretty much everywhere she goes.
Now, related to the Indiana crash and the driver who got a CDL in Pennsylvania, Governor Josh Shapiro issued a statement to Fox News saying Bezkan Beshikiv had legal status.
Well, this is really sad, especially happening to such a young girl. Pretty Ting says, if you don't think that that was racist, then you're not racially conscious. All right, thank you for teaching and preaching. Thank you.
When he got his license and is still legal on the database. Quote, Kristi Noem should focus on minding shop in her own agency as her incompetence and operational failures seem to be matching the scale of her moral failures. Now, with the Indiana case, the Hoosier State cooperates with ICE. The driver was handed over in the jail. Beshikiv is now in federal custody. Dana?
Okay, Mike Tobin, thank you. Hey, everyone.
Okay, so for the rest of the show, we're going to focus in on the missing person. First off, I want to say I'm pretty sure you guys heard what happened in regards to little John. His son actually passed away. They found him in a pond. I guess he was having some mental issues. At least that's what the media, the local media there is reporting. But now we're going to focus on Nancy Guthrie. Such an explosive case out of Arizona. What do you guys think in regards to this case? I'm very interested in finding out, what do you guys think? Do you think it was an inside job, perhaps from a family member? Or do you think it's some large-scale kidnapping ring? What do you guys think? Just put in the comments so we can actually go through some of your comments to try to see what some people last night were saying. Perhaps the son-in-law, who originally was mentioned by some internet sleuths or independent media, that he perhaps had something to do with it, right? That's what they were saying. But now they're saying maybe he owed a debt or someone owed a debt and this happened. No one really knows what's happening. But I just want to go through some of the comments of what you guys have to say so far. Pretty things. And thank you for your quick answers and good support. I really do like it. She says, inside job. But let's get the gist of the story for those who may be new to the discussion of what happened to her.
So a Fox News alert, it's been over a week since Nancy Guthrie was reported missing. The Guthrie family now responding as the second deadline in an alleged ransom note is reportedly set for today.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can...
So just to give you a little background on it, I believe last Thursday was one of the dates of contention that the kidnappers basically had for them to hand over. I guess in the media we're seeing it was $6 million that they had demanded. and the final and second request is by today at 5 p.m. is what is being reported in the media. So right now we're down to the crunch time in regards to this case. Let's see here. Sharon says, I hope I'm wrong, right? But I believe it was an inside job. Okay, so we're getting quite a few people saying perhaps an inside job. AP3 says they rewrite history as they go. AP3, we need you to define they, okay? Who are you exactly talking about? But at any rate, when it comes to this particular case, being that it's a little shaky, some of the information seems like a person would have to have known like some inside details in regards to the house. But I think the big question is, do you think, because so far what we do know is that the Apple Watch and also the floodlights on the back, those two items were at least mentioned in the ransom letter. And the question is, can an outsider have guessed that, or could they have looked at previous pictures? Because if you go back several months, especially pictures with her and her daughter, Savannah, you could see that the mother had on an Apple Watch. So it wouldn't be hard for someone to go back and pick that out and add it into the letter. Because obviously a person that's kidnapping or taking her would not take the Apple Watch because of the tracking purposes. Also, the floodlight is out back, so someone actually seeing pictures of the house or aerial views, there's so much media floating around, could have picked that out too. So the question is, was there more things included in the letter that would really hone in and directly point out that this person actually had her? Usually they say the last person that saw the individual has a high chance of being involved. In this particular case, it was reported, I believe, by Ashley. If you ever watch her channel, she was previously, I believe, at News Nation. But she says it was the son that dropped her off, and this is around the time when she was reporting that the son-in-law that had dropped her off, and that the son-in-law was the initial suspect. But we haven't even heard her or others talk about that in recent time. Let's see if I could find a few comments in relation to, we have a lot of comments, but I don't see them specifically about Nancy Guthrie. So we have a lot of comments about Donald Trump. Trump is definitely high profile and on the minds of many people. Let's see here. Gerald says the government took her. Okay, they want the tapes, a video recording from the news lady. Okay, did you guys hear that she was the one that basically interviewed the Epstein victims, I guess, several years back, including Virginia Dufresne? So some people are trying to point to that. Others are pointing to the video. They're showing the video of her interviewing Donald Trump, and it's a quite, it's an intense interview, and she's really putting the screws to Donald Trump. So, you have a lot of these theories floating around. Let's get back to this.
Celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
Okay, so they're agreeing to pay, right? But we don't know how much of this is strategy from the FBI. How do you pay $6 million as a shot in the dark without really knowing who you're sending it to and if they actually have her? Now, keep in mind, in this particular case, they waited 72 hours to send in the first letter or the first note or ransom letter. Usually, a lot of the specialists that they're bringing out from nowhere, basically, former FBI and so many different individuals, they say typically the ransom letter comes in rapidly after the person is taken. So let's see. Sean says dark web kidnappers and someone close to the family provides information. Okay, thank you for that information.
Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett joins us now. Greg, these people seem to be, the people that are conspiring against this family seem to be very sophisticated. And the reason why I point to that is because the federal government has a lot of tools. And as the threat level rises to the country, they can get warrants to use other tools at their disposal. Do you think we've reached that point?
Okay, before he answers, I just want to point out the St. James Show says that something is not right about the family. I kind of get that feeling too, and I think it might be a shocker when we really do find out what happened in this particular case. Alice says Nancy raised her family right. Okay, all right, thank you for that. Pretty Thing says they are afraid to answer the Guthrie question. Perhaps they are afraid of government may kidnap them next. Wow, this is some scary business, guys. Thank you. Hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Help us hit 50,000. And thank you guys for all the birthday wishes. Today is a big day for me. It's great to see another year. James says, wow, there is 1/4 of us that believe it's okay for the president to post what he did about Obama. That's just wild. Okay, so again, a lot of people feel like it was good humor, right? And in fact, last night, a lot of people said that they do not appreciate it when they call President Trump, they call him an orange orangutan, or they call him a pig. A lot of those expressions were made last night of him being bullied.
Well, I do. And you're right about the FBI's capability. I think today is a pivotal day, and it is a frantic race against the clock to save the life of Nancy Guthrie with a 5 p.m. deadline looming. The FBI is hoping to find her before the ransom ultimatum has to be paid. If they don't, the family.
Now, if you're on the Eastern Standard Time, I think it would be 7 p.m. I think it's 5 o'clock according to Arizona time. So, Gerald says it could be perhaps connected to Bitcoin. I believe that's what you're saying. Bitcoin has failed dramatically. A lot is they're trying to develop Bitcoin on a national scale. But does that really have a key play here? I don't think we really know.
As you saw, has said it will pay the Bitcoin demand for her safe return. But, Lawrence, there's no way of knowing if the suspected kidnappers can be trusted to keep their word. And their failure to provide a conventional proof of life raises some deeply troubling questions. Is this really a kidnapping for ransom? I mean, nobody can say for sure. But I am certain that the FBI has been working around the clock trying to uncover the well-disguised digital footprint left behind on the various email demands. But, these people.
Guys, we're reaching today is day 9, and it doesn't seem like, at least from the public standpoint, we may feel that there's no major progress, but it is shocking that this is a perplexing situation. And again, thank you guys for tuning in and watching the world. John Stevenson says, both parties spew good and bad that keep us divided. Maybe it's time for Americans to take the good from both of them and become one-party system if we can only agree in what is good. That sounds nearly impossible. I think people enjoy being able to call names, point fingers, and try to make other people feel inferior. So many people like that group mentality. They want to have a group to belong to, because then when you say it as a group, it's much easier for your conscience to bear your bad behavior. I know an individual that works in the prison system down in Virginia, and they used to do those executions with the electric chair. And so they would have, I think, 3 or 4 guys that would participate. So you would never know which guy actually pulled the plug. But also when you do it as a group, a lot of times it takes away the accountability or the tossing and turning at night from some severe act. And that's why people do things so easily in groups, especially when it comes to bringing other people to their demise.
Well, they're pretty savvy. They utilized a secure encrypted server to conceal the sender's location, to hide the IP address. That's difficult to penetrate. And others who created deep fakes, unfortunately, have only added to the challenge of unmasking the identities. The Bitcoin account, that's another avenue for the FBI to track. But in the meantime, Lawrence, the clock is ticking down. Law enforcement also using the traditional shoe
That's right, Deborah. Deborah says they're asking for Bitcoin.
Other methods of searching for physical evidence at or near the scene and probably elsewhere. So we all wait and hope and pray for the best.
Greg, since most of this crime so far, it seems to be operated through tech, how hard is it for the government to get information from these technologies, such as the VPN networks that this guy is using to scramble it, the email server that he's using, all of those communications? How hard is it to get them to turn over that data?
Oh, it's exceedingly difficult. And I mean, you have to have.
Okay, John Stevenson says Guthrie abducted by cartel members, possibly. Okay, let's see what Sassy Mo, welcome back to you. Thank you for the amazing support. Says Trump should have played for the Patriots last night as a blocker. He's good at blocking those fouls. Okay, all right. We keep hearing that. We keep hearing that Epstein is in the Trump files. We hear all sorts of things. Carpe Diem says, happy birthday, sir. My mother's birthday today as well. All right. Aquarius, independent and intellectual and innovative. Okay. Often driven by strong, progressive, humanitarian vision. Explains a lot about you. Thank you. And give your mother my regards and a happy birthday. Shout out to her as well. Thank you for sharing that. It's a lot of comments, but I was able to capture that one. All right. Let's see here. Alice says, Nancy was kidnapped by the cartel. She was being a Karen. Okay, tell us more about that. That's a new one. That's a concept there. Pretty Ting says, no many racist people in America. One party is a far reach. That's just the honest truth. Okay, thank you.
Some of the top experts. Fortunately, the FBI is very adept at using the most advanced technology, system analytics, even AI-assisted crime analysis. And the Bureau's investigation is multifaceted. In addition to penetrating the demand notes, as I said, they're also examining all the cell phone activity. There are 41 cell towers within a 3-mile radius. Unfortunately, that's only fruitful if the culprits brought mobile phones with them. They may have had burners or nothing at all. And I'm pretty sure they've been scouring, the street camera footage, other surveillance, tracing vehicles between the hours of 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. when Nancy is believed to have been abducted. There are dozens of license plate readers in the area, but smart criminals often use stolen plates, although those cameras can still identify models, makes, and colors. The difficulty is exacerbated by the remoteness of that neighborhood, Lawrence. Very secluded region, houses set back, blocked by foliage, no streetlights whatsoever, making it very hard for anybody.
Sometimes it feels that the legacy media put out information that helps people become better criminals, right? It's something like a lot of these concepts you learn, you hear on the legacy media, people explaining how they could have done something better to get away with murder. Pretty Ting says, too many racist people in America. A one-party system is a far reach. Okay, I went through that one. Okay, Chris says, the family sit there so cool, not looking like they are worried. It looks suspicious. Okay, that is a good point. Okay, we have Kennedy in the building. Shout out to you. Nice to have you here. Tom says, who got prison reform done? No president in our lifetime did. Donald J. Trump. Okay, prison reform. Okay, thank you for that. Mr. Good Citizen says, we're the only country this diverse, so no other country would have these problems. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, let's see. Yes, indeed. New Jerseyan is saying happy birthday to your mother, Carpe Diem. Okay, John says, agree, Mel. It's not disheartening and sad. So worried about our country. Our country, I think the biggest issue we have is one of the major issues is racism, because people do not want to get along. I think that's stronger than the party divide that we have. People are outrageous in their feelings and they don't have a problem acting on it. Mr. Good Citizen says, no country has anywhere close to the diversity we do in the United States of America. Okay, thank you for that. All right, what other comments do we have? What are you guys thinking? I want to ask this last question. So let's make it very clear. Tell us if you think it's an inside job versus a professional kidnapping. That's how we're going to end on that story. Give us your best shot, your best answers, so we can go through it and see if someone has a different spin or a different twist when it comes to the Nancy Guthrie's case. In fact, do you think it has something to do with the daughter being a part of the media? Again, we already discussed how people are pointing to the Epstein files, and there's some similar connection because she's the first one, I believe, that actually interviewed the victims of the Epstein situation on air. Perhaps we'll go through some of this as well. All right, Mr. Good Citizen says, some of you are just stupid to be fair. Okay, all right, so, all right, we have Ja. Ja says, I really think she just walked away. Plus, she's only a short distance from Mexico. So she's either somewhere lost or she's in Mexico. All right. Well, that's a concept. I haven't heard a lot of people saying she just walked away. How would you explain the drops of blood that seemed to stop at the edge of her front porch? It's almost like she disappeared from that point. I don't recall the media or any of the law enforcement saying they had blood drops beyond the front porch. What do you think about that? Okay, James says, agreed on the training of criminals. Yes, a lot of these points we learn on the news. Okay. Brian, one of our great leaders, says, Savannah looked depressed and the other two, Okay, good point. The Renee says, prayers to Nancy's safe return. Okay, Tom is talking about the president. Let's see what Tom has to say. President Trump pardoned Alice Marie Johnson, wrongful drug sentence. Okay, he's pardoned a lot of people. Perhaps one day we'll see that he pardoned Ghislaine Maxwell. I would not be surprised. Cedric says, so they can find Osama bin Laden in a cave in another country, but can't find a white woman in your own so-called country. Okay, all right, good point. That's a really good point, right? If you think about it. Felicia says, I wonder if the FBI thinks it's the son-in-law. Well, that's a good question. We started off hearing that, and then it went away, and it hasn't resurfaced. Doesn't mean that they don't have all eyes on him, or some sort of connection or someone from his circle, but there's something weird happening here. You know, the other night they went back to the property to search again, and from what I understand, I know one of the guys is boots on the ground, and he was explaining how the flash of lights were all through the house as though they had the lights off when they were searching Annie, the older sister's property. And I guess when you search and you use luminol, you often have to cut the lights off and then flash to get those pictures to show any trails of blood. Doesn't mean that they found anything, but when you watch the crime shows, you often find that that's the strategy that is used. Okay. All right. M. Motley says it's the sister. Okay. The sister. Okay. Haven't heard that one. So it's not the son-in-law, it's the sister. Okay. Do you think the son-in-law helped the sister, or you think it was just the sister? Okay. Pretty Ting says professional kidnapping. They knew exactly what they were doing. Okay. Good point. There's no trace. I think they couldn't even find tire tracks or footprints. And it appeared that, and there are some discrepancies in this case as well. There are some reports that it was an individual at church that called to the family and said, your mother did not show up today. But according to other official reports, the mother did not attend church since COVID, that she actually tied in from the telephone line. And unlike Zoom, where you actually see the person, such as you can see myself now, in this particular case, they did not have that feature. So how would this person know that she was not attending church. And if she was attending it from home, you know, I don't think someone would go to such lengths, right? So we have to factor that in. Who actually reported to the family that she was missing? Also, when the family went to check on her, they made it seem like there was an hour of lost time to where the family was looking for her, perhaps themselves. So those are all questions that we kind of ponder over at times. Brian says, inside job, second daughter, and son-in-law. Okay. Now, Brian, with that being said, tell us, do you think that the ransom letter is just a random person trying to cash in on at least $6 million? Or do you think it's somehow connected truly to the actual whatever happened to her? Derek says a kidnapping with a ransom note. Okay. All right. JC says fake pictures. Trump didn't do it. Okay. You're talking about Trump posting Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. He didn't do it. Okay. Supporting the president. Kenneth says believe they are pros. It seems like they're professionals if the ransom letter is attached to her going missing, right? It seems like they're checking the well out back. They're doing all these things way after she went missing. You would expect them to do this right away, right? Alice says, hopefully Nancy is okay and makes it home alive. I think a lot of people feel that way. Tonight, at least in my time here at 7 p.m., it will be all eyes on this story to try to figure out what's going to happen. Maybe we'll get an answer before then. But it does seem like if they were going to pay that ransom, instead of making the announcement about it, because evidently the person answered the question about proof of life, and I don't know how that proof of life was came through, if it was picture, video, or perhaps a question answered about something that only the kids would know their mother could answer. These are some of the things that we don't know, but it seems like they would have just sent the money and kept moving. But for them to come out and make another video and key statements. Now, I haven't been able to confirm this, but I heard within the last correspondence, someone said that it was directed to Dear Savannah. So why would the person say Dear Savannah? If that's true, I think that would be a very intriguing response from someone almost isolating Savannah. So it would almost make you question about the true motive or nature if this is truly a kidnapping. Travis says, why are they showing this so much? Just because her daughter is famous? We have lots of missing children and women and no one usually cares. What a joke. That's a great point, Travis. You hit the nail on the head with that. People go missing every day. But we get it. Maybe that's why this particular person was chosen, because they knew the fanfare would be great because of the nature of her daughter being such a famous person that would bring such amazing storylines, because everybody's covering this pretty much on every station or network that you go to. Jason says, I wish the president of the United States would pardon Hillary Clinton. She has done nothing. She's a strong woman, a grandmother, a citizen of the United States. Okay. All right. Jason is hoping and Hillary Clinton gets a pardon. Is this a pardon before she does something? Carpe Diem says, I find it highly unlikely that she didn't have a video security system of some kind monitoring her property, especially since she was in an isolated location. That seems very odd to me. Well, they say that she did have the surveillance, but she didn't pay the plan. She didn't have a paid plan program. So basically it was just recording, but not uploading to the cloud like most of these camera systems do. Brian says, yes, 25% of that comment is disgraceful. Okay. We have some tough comments in here today. People are really expressing themselves, and some of it's not so pretty. It is what it is, folks. Okay, Kennedy says, does she have a life insurance policy? We haven't heard anything about that part, but that's a really good question, Kennedy. Good job on your detective work. John Stevenson says, next somebody will say Trump or Republican has something to do with her death or kidnapping if they haven't already. All right, blame the Republicans, blame MAGA. That's what John is saying. Okay. Thank you, John. Thanks for coming back on a continued basis. Okay. Deborah says there's an 80-year-old man from Largo missing 1 month now. Haven't seen a thing on him. Okay. Well, that's probably no fame attached to it, so that story might be low key. Pretty Ting says no one will be surprised if Trump has something to do with it. Wow. Now that's the first that I've heard that Donald Trump, that theory of him having something to do with it. Connie says no money should be given. Okay. Imagine they give the money and don't hear a peep back. Wouldn't that be, oh, it would be too hard to bear, wouldn't it? Okay. AI Star C says, keep dry powder ready to buy crypto more. Yes, indeed. Crypto is going down. Bitcoin, but I think it's coming back with a bang in the near future. Brian says, you could give me $1 billion, but even gets cancer still broke. Okay. Everyone that gets cancer still broke. Good point. Good point. That's such a powerful statement you made, Brian. Your health is wealth, is prime in life, and no money can turn that around in most cases, right? All right. AI Star C says because Savannah Guthrie is in the Epstein files. I have not seen anything about that, so I'll have to check into that. But if you want to drop the link, I'll investigate. Kennedy says Google is reporting that an insurance policy was signed in her name just 48 hours before going missing. Wow, haven't heard that one. Alice says we need a show for 411 missing persons. Okay, that would be a great idea. Maybe sometimes we'll just focus on missing people. Great idea, Alice. Alice, nice having you here. Please subscribe, like, share, subscribe to the channel. Okay, all right, guys. I guess that's it for today. Let's see if we have anything else on Savannah Guthrie. Okay, we're talking about Donald Trump and Barack Obama. Okay, here we go. Tom says she's only 70 miles from the Mexico border. There's a 50% chance of being kidnapped. Mexico, most dangerous place to travel. Okay, thank you, Tom, for that important message. Okay, Bill says abolish the Nazi GOP. And that's probably not a good word to read out of a YouTube or state on YouTube. That probably goes against their policies. Okay, all right, very good. We'll take one more comment. Lisa says, and welcome back, Lisa. Lisa says, why has nobody talked about the fact that we have not seen Tomas in public with his family since the disappearance? That's a really good question. What a great way to end the show. Wow. Wait a minute. I want to add this to the show too. Robin says, my mother swears Trump had her kidnapped. Man, oh man. Wow. Okay, guys. Well, we had a lot of different viewpoints on this case. That's really tough. But stay on the lookout tonight. We might go live if there's any breaking news in regards to this matter. I'm thinking about going live tonight around 8 p.m. to cover Donald Trump's latest interview. For those of you who would like to watch that, maybe tonight at 8, we could watch it all together to see how he's answering these questions. But if we have some updates in regards to Nancy Guthrie, obviously I'll go live to cover it so we can see what's happening and learn about this important case all together. And I think that's it for the comments. Thank you guys so much. Just trying to see if there's anything else popping out. Thank you guys for all the happy birthdays. It's so important to get you guys best wishes. That's very important. Okay. Carolyn says, please find the lady she's really missed. Okay. All right. And Kennedy says, make sure you grab your popcorn and the wine and your blunts. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in today. I really do appreciate all the support. We're on the road to 50,000 subscribers. It's a great thing indeed. And make sure you enjoy the rest of your day. Tune back in tomorrow, definitely, for News at Noon at 12 Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much, and I really do appreciate each and every one of you.
Different voices, but the same song. Living a world where we all belong. Kindness leading the way, breaking the chains. In the symphony of love, the thing remains. Embracing diversity, brighter days in sight. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. The colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.